Peace, y'all.
Happy New Year! Woo!
We ain't there yet, but we at the tip. We at the tip.
Oh, whoa.
And I'm so excited. I am truly excited. This what we got. What, 1 day left in the year?
Yeah.
1 day.
Yep. At the time of this recording, we got 1 day. We got less than 24 hours left in 2024.
Well, a little over 24 hours.
A little over 24. Yeah. My mistake. We got a little over 24 hours in 2024. And I will say this has been one hell of a year. If I do say so myself. It's been great. It's been a challenge. It's been a movie. I'll be honest. I feel like 2024 is a movie in itself. Like everything that we've experienced collectively and even in our own individual lives, it's like some things that happened, it was just like, bro, how did I get through that? Or that can't be really what happened, right? Like thinking back and looking back on some of the things that may have happened in your life, at least I can speak for what happened in my life. It's like, dang, I can't believe that actually happened. And so we're here to talk and have a recap and also have some things set in place to go into 2025 as well. And I'm excited. I'm excited about this. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling inspired. I'm feeling excited. I am looking forward to 2025. Like, I feel like it is going to be delicious. I feel like it's going to be powerful and impactful for myself, for other people. Like, I have so many things that I look forward to in 2025. And yeah, like I'm just excited to, like, I feel like it's already, I'm claiming it. It's going to be amazing. And yeah, this 2024 was a year. It was a year for the books. I feel like, and just, this episode was kind of inspired by a coach that I had, and his name is Amar, and I'm gonna probably mess up his last name, Amari Tuakli. Like, Amari, don't kill me, because yeah, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. But he is an amazing coach. I had worked with him, I want to say it was 2023 initially. And he's a coach. He pretty much helps people to unlock like a new level of freedom in their life. And he helps them to kind of break out of those like mental prisons that are keeping them stuck, that are preventing them from having the life that they want to live, whether it's starting this business or furthering something, deepening their connections with people, being more authentic in the world. And he is a force. Okay. And when I started working with him, listen, my life was in shambles. Okay. Like I have so much going on. But he sat with me, met me like where I was at, but he changed the game for me, like with challenging the thinking, right? Like he essentially helped me to kind of change the glasses that I was wearing, because he helped me to see it's not that the world is broken, but the lens that we're looking at them from. And so I told him like that I was going to work with him again, and he laughed at me. He was like, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. I like, listen, sir, I'm so serious. Like, and I'm in a different space, and there's even more like deliciousness that I'm ready to unlock. And it's in my 2025 budget, sir. So it's happening. But he created this 2024 reflection guide. It's called the Bookmark, and we will post the link in the description for his, like, all his links and everything. And this is kind of course, it's the end of the year. It's a time of reflection, but I really love the questions that he asked. And of course, we're not gonna ask all the questions, but it really did kind of inspire some of the thoughts that we have for this episode that I'm really excited to get into. So, I know for me, like when you entered 2024, do you remember what you were doing?
Oh, do I? Clear as day. I was actually reflecting on this between yesterday and today. I was really just like reflecting because I usually do around this time, around like December, end of December, beginning of January. I usually like reflect on like the experience that I had because I feel like every year I get more and more and more aware, right? Like I can think back to when I was like 18 to 22. I don't have much recollection of that time because I was so unconscious and unaware of what was going on. I was just living life and just doing things and figuring out things, right? And going through the process and emotions of becoming who I am today. And so last year was very apparent. It was very like in my face, like I knew exactly where I was and what I was doing. And it sucked, essentially. I was working at a job that I didn't like, but I had to do what I had to do at the time because I was in a rebuilding phase. I would say 2024 was like a rebuilding phase, kind of like how your favorite basketball team goes through that cycle where they're like rebuilding and restructuring their teams. That's kind of how I was doing. You know, I was just kind of rebuilding and restructuring my life. So working at a place I don't like, but I had it in my mind like I'm not gonna be here forever. I'm gonna figure out something else. And throughout that process, I was doing so many different things. Like I was just trying stuff and trying stuff, like seeing what works, seeing what stuck, and just trying to figure out a better way because I knew in my heart of hearts, this is not where I'm supposed to be. So I was just doing stuff, trying to figure it out, working at this place. And I had a lot of wonderful experiences too, because as you know, me and my wife, we live here in Georgia. We've only been here going on 2 years now. Yeah. That's how you know you've been somewhere long, where you kind of like don't know how long you've been there. But yeah, I think it's been going on 2 years now. And the process of getting here and establishing yourself was probably the hardest thing to ever do because we came out here and we kind of sort of had a plan, but at the same time, we was just trusting in God and our instincts that we was going to figure it out. And that was probably the hardest part. Um, Anytime you're uprooting yourself from where you are, like your comfort zone or whatever, it's always uncomfortable. So this was really teaching me a lesson on how to be okay with being uncomfortable. And I learned that lesson well. So again, I was working at a place I didn't like. And then now, for those that know, I started a trucking company and it's been doing fairly well so far. Mind you, I started it during the holidays and like before my birthday too, like a few days before my birthday. But it's been a journey to get to this point, and I'm excited. Honestly, I'm excited to be where I am now, thinking back on all the things I went through because the person that I was would be so proud of the person that I am now because of the things that I faced and the fact that I never quit. Even though there was times like I was like, man, fuck this, but like, nah, this ain't it. Like questioning and doubting and second guessing, and it's just like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's how 2024 went for me. But I'm excited for what's to come. What about you? Like, what was 2024 like for you, if you can recall?
2024, I feel like so going into 2024, I didn't like celebrate. I think I was coming out of, but still in. I was on the tail end of postpartum anxiety. My son was like not even 4 months yet. So yeah, I brought him in New Year's, like probably I think I was sleeping. I didn't do anything. Um But at that time, because like I had not even known postpartum anxiety was a thing. Like we hear about postpartum depression, but I don't feel like postpartum anxiety is something that's very like well known, and talked about. And I just feel like my my mindset, I was just thinking worst case scenarios. That was kind of where I was at. Like I was struggling. But again, I was on the tail end of it. I did get, um, help and everything. I even for a time had to, get some like medication to help it because I was just like, it was preventing me from a lot of things, like everyday things. Like I was thinking, like, I'm going to the store with my son and I'm thinking I'm about to drop him and he gonna die. Like it was just, it was, it had me very kind of frozen in life almost, so my goal at the time, that was kind of one of the questions, like what was your a goal that you had for 2024? My goal at that time, I think, was just surviving. Like I was still in survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
So like most of my time, I had to take it hour by hour, not even day by day. Like I had to break it down to just get through. Um, And I definitely surpassed the goal this year because how I entered it and how I'm leaving 2024, I feel like I've lived probably like 3 or 4 lives in this year, like this year alone type of thing. It has been one of the most challenging, adventurous, but delicious years to date. Like I feel like I've stretched my capacity. I tested my resilience, my patience, my will, my intentionality. And I feel like I've achieved a level of like peace and happiness and self-love that I did not previously know was possible.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that happened in the course of a year. I mean, I feel like the thing that shifted was for me was taking accountability, right? Like, because I had a lot of things I could have blamed Ish on, right? Like, I entered the year with a job like you. I did not like. I wasn't really liking, to be honest. Like it was easy, but it was also very draining for me because I'm a person that I have to have a purpose in it. I have to have a passion for it. And that position, it was very draining. It didn't fulfill me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started to take accountability for my life instead of blaming my circumstances or people that were in my life or a lack of something for that to be the reason that I didn't have what I wanted. I shifted that and I just started taking ownership. What really shifted for me was so I've always been a therapy girly, right? Like I've always, more times than not, been in therapy, but I started going to therapy like 2 to 3 times a week. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just like, this is what I need. This is the level of support I need. And eventually I was able to like dwindle that down. Um, I also took accountability and started hiring coaches. Like I had my spiritual mentor before. I had hired coaches before, but I feel like I did it more with intention this year. Um, I hired my dating coach who uh Taurus Sense. She's amazing. She has a podcast, Date with Sense, and she shifted my thinking with how essentially like teaching me that like dating skills are life skills. Like I mean, helped me to shift in my communication, not only with men, but even in just my, everyday like relationships, and helped me to uh really explore boundaries because I my life, like that wasn't something that was taught. Like they don't teach boundaries in school, and damn sure, like to be honest, in the households I grew up, like boundaries was not a thing. You're the kid, so you got to do everything. I say, like there's no questioning things. There's no, you know, and that kind of created that like that good girl syndrome, that like people pleasing mentality. That I'm essentially here to serve and support other people, and so she shifted my thinking on that because it's like no, we're not self-abandoning anymore. pretty much. And that completely just, I mean, changed my world when I tell you, like, it shifted things for me business wise, personally, romantically. Like I started to see more of the patterns, the things that weren't serving me. So I feel like that's what this year has really been about. I got my, my finance and productivity coach. When I tell you this year I've made the most money I ever had, but I realized I still had some money beliefs, some things I needed to clean up, right? Some scarcity mindset around money. And I was like, I don't want to just keep making more money and still kind of have the same problems. So I hired a coach because she was like, whose calls are we dodging? Who, like, she got real, like, she got in my business. It was very uncomfortable. But she just helped me to really take accountability and to, like, I've never been so intentional with my money. I mean, down to the dollar. She helps me to plan ahead. Like, I've never been able to do that. I'm like, how do people like plan trips and things like that? And just kind of shifting the mindset around money. Um, it's been so amazing. Latoya, I hired her again because I'm like, I still need this. I want this level of support to continue. Um, I even hired like she's a master parent and personal development coach, Cindy, who helped me to kind of reinforce giving myself permission to do things in life. We really dug into like my core values and my needs, like the basic needs that like all of us humans have, but we just have different levels of what we need them, at. And that shifted some things and even helped to inspire my most recent shift, which is, significance coaching. Like, it was through work with her that really, like, she allowed me to, like, I can't hide with her. and and then lastly, like the business and mindset coach with Rob Dial, the mindset mentor. He has a podcast as well, and I followed him for years, and I finally joined his program, and it has just been, I feel like I operated kind of like as a coach for some time. I've been kind of like, one of those go-to people for like friends and hell, even strangers. But this year was the year I became more intentional with it. This was the year that I like, I finally got like more clients and things have been just flowing, really shifting like the mindset about being a coach. And as we kind of talked about this before, like having a business, it stretches you in ways like, and it affects you see where areas that you need to grow in based off of the things that you face, right? Like, because we get triggered in our business and things come up that stress us out that are like, wait a minute, like, how am I going to get through this type of thing? And I realized a lot of the problems that we tend to have, it's not an external thing, it's a mindset thing. And I think that's one of the biggest things like that I got from Rob Dial and his program. And it's been a year that just, again, I mean, it has stretched me, but it's been so amazing to see the growth. Because, like I said, to start the year where I'm like hardly wanting to go outside,
Yeah.
to now like having this delicious dating life and feeling supported from men and not even having to be in a relationship with them, not having to be physical with them to get this type of like support and attentiveness and deepening my like relationships with my friends and communicating in the way that I am, like all these things, like I just feel like it has been it. And I think one of the questions actually that we talked about, that we wanted to speak on was, if you were to summarize the year in one word, what word would that be? What comes to mind for me is, and I'm kind of cheating, but I like to be outside the box and, Amari, thanks. I would say it's two words. It's intentional momentum. Like, I feel like seeds were planted in 2023. 2024 was about nurturing them, right? Like, and starting to take action. Because I started the podcast this year, both of them, trigger warning and this one. And then now I even have a third project I'm working on with another coach on TikTok called Love Unfiltered. And I feel like this year has been like about watering it and nurturing it. But I feel like 2025 is just going to take off. Like that's what I feel like. It's so exciting. I plan to have more experiences, just deeper connections. Like I don't plan to meet strangers in 2025. I plan to shift every person that I interact with in some way or form
Mm.
because of the level that I'm vibrating at. And
Mm.
that is, to me, that's just it's just
I like that. I like that. That's, man, look.
What's your word? What would you say your word for 2024?
My word for 2024, if I had to put in one word, I would say it was evolutionary. Like, to me, 2024 was all about evolving and figuring out what I needed and what I didn't need, right? And really highlighting some of the characteristics and traits and flaws that I had that I needed to work on. I feel like 2024 really highlighted a lot of those things for me. And it helped me to grow more. It helped me to evolve more. It helped me to really see the things that I needed to work on more too. Evolutionary, I would say, is the word. And it's kind of ironic too, because I kind of wanted to jump into like the 2025 question, because as you were speaking, there was like so many things was coming up for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like one of the questions that we have is 2025 will be better if or when I dot dot dot. And everything that you said is everything that I intend to do as well in my journey. Because one thing I've known for a while now is that you can't go this journey alone, right? And that's another thing that 2024 has taught me as well, is that you can't go about this journey all on your own, because there are going to be blind spots that you're going to miss. And so you need those coaches and therapists and mentors and friendships to help you to see the blind spots where you can't see them at, right? So yeah, yeah, that's how I would describe 2024. How would you describe it in one word?
I had two words. I ain't doing one word.
Oh, two words.
It was intentional momentum. That's my term for 2024.
Mm.
And going into 2025, I mean, one thing I want to do, because I feel like there was a lot of shifts that happened in 2024. Like I felt like I kind of transformed into different identities at different parts of the year.
Mm.
Um, and I feel like now I feel more aligned than I ever have. And with that, one thing I want to go into 2025 thinking about more is the follow through, like
Mm.
the follow through, the completing things, because I've gotten better with it because I was a huge like professional procrastinator. Okay, listen, like I'm talking about, like anybody that like is close to me would know, like especially with school and
Mm.
stuff, like I still maintain like a 3.8 something GPA, but when I tell you I procrastinate professionally, I'm talking about I got a paper that's like 5 to 7 pages due and it's the day before and I hadn't started it yet. Like, and that is I work better under pressure, but I also realized even though it's working for you, doesn't mean it's working for you. you know,
Yeah.
that was a major shift in my mindset too. So I feel like with all the transitions that I had, because it was like I was trying to get more aligned. I was trying to figure out, like you said, you were just trying things.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I feel I have the alignment, it's about the follow through and actually like going further, deepening into these ideas, into these concepts, into these things. Like now, I pretty much like I think I have capacity for one more like full-time client right now.
Mm.
And but deepening my connections with my clients and perfecting but like improving my my program and everything, right? Like, because I'm learning from my clients just like they're learning from me. It's an energy exchange. So, like, really just digging deeper into what is here on my plate right now. Not necessarily trying to like start a bunch of new things because I feel like that's what I did in 2024. And now it's about like the follow through.
I like that, the follow through. Yeah. You know what? That's really what it is. And we spoke about it too earlier. Like, I'm going to start implementing more of like the 80-20. It's like doing 80% of the work or doing 20% of the work and getting 80% of the results, right? It's like really having it planned out. And I have it right here as a quote as well. And I had to save it because I thought it was really powerful, right? The 20-80 principle is like, when it comes to your health, it's 80% eating and 20% exercise. It's things like 80% habits and 20% of actually doing the math of understanding how all of your systems are working, right? It's talking, right? It's 80% listening and 20% speaking, which I feel like I've developed a excellent ear for listening, because I'm always looking to be a student, because there's always something to learn. There's something that I don't know that somebody else knows. Even if I already know it, it's coming from a different perspective. So maybe I can learn it in a way that I've never learned it before, or hear it in a way I've never heard it before. And so just kind of keeping on with that same pattern, that's the momentum that I'm going into this on, because I feel like some of 2024, there were things that I overthought and I didn't take action on because I was just so in my head about it, or I was like, well, let me try to draw it out this way and see maybe if this is better, right? And so, like you said, with the follow through, sometimes when you follow through, it may not show up at first how you want it to, but the more you continue to roll and the more you continue to go with that thing, you'll start to see the results that you're actually looking for. So I feel like that's something good to take into 2025 too, because we all need to follow through on the things that we set out for ourselves, because otherwise you'll just end up doing things, stopping things, and starting new things. And then you have a bunch of uncompleted projects. And so once you follow through with one, now you're able to follow through with every other thing that you have in front of you, because one thing just leads to the other, which leads to another.
Yeah. And I like what you said, systems. And that's something I really love. Like, I love having systems to improve my life, systems to be more productive, to be more efficient. And I realized I've always had a knack for that, but I didn't realize like I can use that in every aspect of my life. Like, I even realized, because I was like, man, I'm procrastinating on certain things, but then I realized like, and because it wasn't that I couldn't have done it. The thing was, it was something in my mindset that was like blocking me from doing it, because there was either a fear of failure or a fear of like whatever it was, right? And so one major shift that I had was realizing, okay, if there's something that I'm procrastinating on, but like because I'm a person, like, I have in my calendar, right? Like, I love to put everything in my calendar, like from appointments to just things that I want to remember. If there is like I put my meetings in there, or like, oh, send this, like follow up with this message to this person or something like that. Like, I kind of have like reminders in my calendar. That's how I like to do it. And usually how I would do is like at the end of the day, like as I complete things, I delete it off of my calendar, and it's just something that's just personally satisfying to me. I'll delete it, or if it's something I haven't done, I would move it into the next day, or a future date. I found myself moving stuff a lot. Right. Like, it wasn't me deleting it, but it was moving it. And I would have, like, when I tell you, and I would do this pretty much daily, more days out of the week than not. I found myself doing that with certain things for months at a time.
Wow.
Like, literally. And do you like imagine the emotional weight of constantly moving something, like, oh, I didn't get it done. Dang. Okay, I'm gonna move it to, at first it would be like the next day or something, but then it wouldn't happen the next day. I'm like, okay, let me move it to next week. Then I would stretch it a little more. Let me move it to 2 weeks from now. I kept doing that. And that weight of just, you're not getting it done. It was kind of that inner critic battling with, like, girl, you know you need to do this, so we're not deleting it. We gonna just keep moving it, right? Like, but it was just like, it was just so heavy for things that really weren't even that big, like, of a task.
Mm.
So what I realized was we need more systems in place. We need more systems to break things down. So if you find something that you desire or want to do or have this goal, break it down. Break it down into more smaller, manageable tasks so that you can still complete parts of it, right? And you're still building that momentum. You're still reaching the goal, even if you're not like, okay, in one sitting, I'm going to complete this. Essentially, I realized the key to life is cheating your brain. Possible. That's pretty much all we have to do. We have to cheat our brain to think a certain thing. And because again, I'm a person that I get satisfaction from checking the boxes, right? And deleting the tasks. So break them down into smaller tasks. You know, and also for certain things, if it's not something that I can, like, if I have trouble holding myself accountable for certain things, that is when I took accountability and had a coach. Like my finance coach, she was like, and she would do it in such a way, like, I just loved how poised she would be about it. She'd be like, so, okay, go ahead and call them right now and pay this bill. Like, and I'm like
right
I'll do
now?
it later, like, knowing damn well, like, after the meeting, I'm not. But she realized that's the level of accountability that I need. So I was literally like, she sat with me, talking to people, paying bills, and and that is what it's about. It's creating, you have the tools, right? But it's not about having the answers. That's not the key to success. It's about, if you don't have the answers or you can't find the answers, you search out people, places, and things that are going to support and provide those answers, right? And that's why I hired coaches. That's why I hired, because it's like, there's a level of accountability that I, even for myself, as far as I've gotten on my healing journey, I'm still gonna put some stuff off. Okay. Like I will in a hot second and wrap up in a blanket and sit on this couch and watch Netflix and call it self-care. Like that's just the truth, right? So it's just taking accountability. And for me, again, so that's something I want to deepen in 2025, is having more systems in place. I have no problems. Like that is how I'm going into 2025. I have no problems. Because if I face some resistance or if a challenge is presented, I have the tools, or I can fucking get them.
But whoa. You said something. You said two things that were really powerful to me. One, you said trick your brain into getting a result, right? Essentially, you said trick your brain into getting a result, and then you have no problems because you can either find a tool to solve the problem, or the tool is already in your possession. That right there, that right there is all you truly need if you're really looking to evolve and going into 2025. I feel like those two right there, just like game changers right there, all in their own. But to add to that, right, I feel like the biggest thing, and you're a part of it, right? The biggest thing is, or the second biggest thing, the third biggest thing is community. And that's what you have, like that's what you're surrounded by, because all of the people that you're talking about and all of your coaches and mentors and things of that nature, you have community. And I feel like most of the time, people who don't achieve success is because they're not surrounded by the right group of community. They're not surrounded by the right people. And that right there is the biggest key to anybody's success, to anybody's elevation. It's about what's that old saying? It's about your net worth, not your net worth is your network, right? Essentially. Yeah. And that is so important. And that's something that I feel like I'm going to start bringing into this too, because I've been big on like finding your community, because that's the season we're in, is find your tribe season, right? And I'm big on having community and having people who think at a higher level than me or at the same level as me, because there's relatability and then there's growth. Because it's like, okay, I know I can do and get to the level that you're at, and I know that there's somebody who's on the same level, and it's like we can both achieve that level that we want to achieve. And I think that's truly important.
Yeah. And to be able to challenge each other. And that's what I really like. I realized in 2024, I don't fucking like small talk. I could do without it.
Talk
Like
about
it's cool, all about the game and the weather and how are you doing? Okay, great. Like, what did you learn about yourself in this last quarter?
right.
What have you been challenged with? Like, tell me something good. That is something I learned. And it's not to say, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, it's not, we do have to sometimes turn it off, right? Like, it's, we still hang out. I still have game nights with my girls and, go out on dates. I still, have a life. But I just realized, I think a lot of people don't give themselves permission to be authentic, you know? And if small talk is not your thing, it's okay. I think we are in a society where small talk is a thing. Like people thrive off of small talk, right? Like we walking past folks in the grocery store, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing good. How are you doing? And they're halfway down the aisle already. Like we are so on autopilot and just not really connecting with people. And I think that is my superpower. It's the ability to connect people, the ability to make people pause, reflect, and see beyond like surface level to shift perspective. That is my superpower. And I feel like before I used to kind of look at it in a like negative light, I think. Like I just kind of like I was just like, man, I'm not because I felt like I was standing out so much. Everybody wants to talk about these things, and I'm just over here
okay. Okay.
Yeah. It didn't feel good to me. And I didn't realize that that is what it was. Like I was self-abandoning because those aren't the type of connections that I wanted. Those aren't the things that I wanted to talk about. It's not to say that everything is all about me all the time, but I wasn't really speaking up for what I truly desired. And learning again, and like really kudos to my dating coach because like just learning how to communicate it, learning how to identify it in the first place. A lot of people don't even know what the hell they want. Truly. Like, because a lot of people were so in survival mode that we don't give ourselves permission to think about it.
Yeah.
We thinking about this shit like, oh, to pursue my passion and to have, if I feel like I want to help people and stuff like that, like that feels like extra. It doesn't feel like something that's a necessity. And that's something that I truly am passionate about is helping people to see that finding your purpose, finding like doing the things that make you feel good, it's not an extra. It's not, this should be a part of you. This should be a part of your schedule. Like you said, something you said off camera was about seeing everything in your life as part of a business. And in that's essentially like what I try to go into with my clients is to help them to see like, just like you got this 9 to 5, that's your like livelihood. This is you doing passion projects. I call it like passion project, passion time. Doing this like something that fills you up every day should be a job like that. Yeah, you may not be monetarily getting paid for it, but energetically, if you want to stop walking around feeling depressed, stop walking around feeling unfulfilled, stop walking around feeling like the people around you aren't seeing you, aren't hearing you, aren't validating you, do it for your fucking self.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Because it starts within. Because for one, if you don't have it within yourself, if you don't, like, how can you identify it? How can you really find it from other people? How can you expect it from other people if you're not giving it to yourself?
Yeah, like you don't have an expectation for yourself. So you don't even know what you want or what to expect.
We just out here lost. But guess what? We don't gotta go into 25. We're not. We're not going into 2025 with that.
Nah.
we're raising the consciousness level, and I think people are waking up. They are seeing that passion needs to be a part of the agenda. You know, it needs to be, again, just a necessity. And so I don't even know what got me over there, but yeah.
Nah, yeah, I like that. Like we spoke about it off camera. Like, a lot of people don't know what they want or don't know what it is exactly that they're looking for, right?
Right.
Trying to find my train of thought. I really just lost it as soon as I started talking. But what you said was so important, right? I treat my life like a business because that's just the climate that we're in. And I feel like that's where it is. A lot of people are now at this point where you almost don't really have a choice but to find something else outside of what it is that you're currently doing. Because as the climate changes, the infrastructure of our society is changing too. And so that little bubble that you used to be in is almost non-sustainable, right? So you have to branch out. And so that dream that you've been putting off for so many years is probably time to take that dream off the shelf and actually put it to some use. Because even though, yes, you know, like you said, it's not giving you any monetary gains, but eventually it's going to start to do something. It's going to start to pick up momentum, and it's going to start to move in a way that you don't expect it to, because things are changing. Things are changing. We're growing, we're evolving, we're showing up in a different way. And if you don't get along, or if you don't try to do something different outside of your normal circumstances, then you're going to be crushed by the weight of society and the economy and all of these other things too as well. You know, it's funny you said something about small talk too, right? Because I feel like small talk was something I had to master, because I was taught that sometimes you have to meet people here in order to bring them up here, right? Because if you try to talk to them here while they're down here, it's just like the disconnect starts to happen. So I try to stay up to date with certain current events and just talk about highlight things. And it may sound like I know what I'm talking about, which I do know what I'm talking about, but I don't know the depths of it. But I'm just aware. I'm just letting you know, like, hey, I'm aware of the same thing that you're aware of. Now that we're talking, let's try to raise the bar a little bit. Let's just a little bit. Let's just see. Like, I like to see where people's consciousness is, just to kind of see where this conversation can go. So that that's that.
And I feel like that was something I had to intentionally do, like work at as well. Because like for me, and you were on the finale of the Trigger Warning podcast that I just aired it. We just aired it yesterday. Um, was like, because me in politics, I could care less, to be honest. And I know it's controversial because people are like, that is, it's so important, right? That's great. I live my life by values. And I never grew up in a household that politics was a thing. Um, and even though I don't care, and I have, there's some beliefs there, like behind certain people and stuff like that. But when, of course, this election happened with like, Trump versus, Kamala and stuff like, or who? Well, Kamala, right? Yeah. See. um, but of course it was a hot topic, right? And I realized, like you said, just kind of having enough knowledge about certain things. But then I realized like my gift was being able to shift people's perspective. And like one thing that I had thought about, which somebody had talked to me about, was like how even if people don't agree with Trump and don't like him, whatever the case may be, right? It was not until when he was in office last time that people of color, more specifically, came together, like more than any other time in history. And people have gotten real lax since then, right? And so it's like, even though you may not be happy that he's in office, to me, that's kind of a dope perspective, is to think about, this is more of a reason for people to come together and to take action based on their values and their, to talk about change and building momentum with things. Um, and also I even realized, because like I've like been around some people, like I had some feelings that came up when people are posting about um certain parties or whatever, and somebody was like, oh, I'm mad this person posted about like that they support Trump and that they pretty much were celebrating. And I had to like check myself, because I was like, initially I felt like I felt some kind of way. People that I follow, that I admire, had posted, made posts like that. But they also expressed themselves in ways like, because, and I guess me coming from the perspective, so when I talk about politics with people, it's not like, oh, Trump, oh, Kamala, oh, this. It was like, if I had lived this person's life and I had this person's experiences and their values, their needs and desires, hell, I might be a this Trump supporter or a Kamala supporter too. Like I might be, because all of their experiences, right, like led them to have this belief that they felt like this person is, what they align with. And it doesn't mean that they support everything that this person does, right? But there's something that's a priority for them, a need for them, that they feel that this candidate fills. That's what it is. And to me, that's a different perspective than thinking like, oh, right or wrong. Oh, left or right.
Yeah.
And I think just having that level of like empathy and understanding of people has shifted the people that I've had conversations with about that. Because most people don't think about that. They're just like, the other person's wrong. Like, that is why there's so much division in the US, is because of political and religious disconnects. People don't try to understand the other side. They don't try to be open-minded. They're just very, and even with this whole thing with B. Simone that's been recently going about, right? Like, she's like essentially like, oh, I can't bring into 2025 people that carry crystals and have sage and da 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 da. But it's like, girl, these people that have these crystals and are utilizing these tools to try to find meaning and purpose and answers in their life are the very people we should be having the most empathy for, the most understanding for, not like talking about it in a very derogatory way. It's just so interesting. There's so much division, and I feel like that's one of my superpowers, is to be able to like kind of bridge the gap. Like, we're really not so different. Like, we just use different means to get to the same end. We all want to have fulfilling connections. We all want to have love. We all want to like fucking enjoy our lives.
Yeah.
How we get there may be different, but at the end of the day, we all want a lot of the same things.
Yeah, true. That is true. Hey, but to each his own, I say,
right?
If it works for you, it works for you. We live in a multi-dimensional universe, and we live in a world within a world, because you walk around and you see people and you see them, and they're living in an entirely different world apart from yours. Like, the things that they know, the things they experience, their algorithm is so different, and the things that they see are probably things you'll never see or even think about unless you jump into that world or somehow get involved in that world. So I say to each his own. Like, if it works for you, then it works for you. As long as you're not harming anybody, you ain't putting nobody down, then hey, do you?
Yeah. I say all the time, I love that for you. True. And like for me, yeah, no, I'm good. But I love that for you. And I truly mean it.
Facts.
So what is one of the questions he also asks is, 2025 would be a success if
2025. I feel like 2025 would be a success if and when I get a coach. that was the first thing that came to my mind, because I feel like
what kind of coach?
I guess a business coach. Yeah, business coach, somebody to help like with systems. And the reason I say that is because, like, growing up, I was big into like buying courses and being in communities and stuff like that, because I believed in that. at that time. And I still do to this day, because yes, there's a lot of knowledge and information out there, but you got to do so much work to dissect that knowledge and that information. But it does give you a broader perspective, so that way your brain can expand its horizons. But at the same time, I feel like you need some condensed information that is just like specifically tailored for a specific result. And I started the journey of just buying courses and getting into mentorships and stuff like that, because it helps to narrow the curve, the the learning curve. It's like what takes 6 months to learn, you can learn it in about 6 weeks, right? Or 60 minutes or something like that. It just helps you to really just bend that curve a little bit more, so that way you can get to the result a little quicker. And we live in an age now where information is so like at your fingertips, and you can literally learn and pick up a skill just like that, right? And so just getting a coach, and you know what? Not even just for business. I feel like I need a coach in all parameters of my life. I need a coach for business, a coach for finances, a coach for um spirituality, you know. Um yeah, I just want people of a higher caliber in my life. And I feel like 2025 will be so much better. And I feel like that's going to happen because I'm in a new bracket now, right? So, yeah, that's what I feel like 2025 will be better with. But what about you?
I
What do
love
you think?
that. I love that because and that's something I didn't realize. Like, there's a coach for everything.
Everything.
No, you got and one of
Everything.
the things, like I told, well, Amari, like he is my next investment,
Mm.
and um, even like a communications coach, that's something I desire to as well, to like, because I want to get into like public speaking and stuff. Like I want to get into more engagements of me essentially like being a motivational speaker and things. Like I see myself on stages,
Mm.
and like there's a coach for everything, and I feel like that's just something, previous years that I just didn't think was possible, because it was like, oh, that's money, and that's like something I can't afford to have, right, is to make these types of things. But now it's an investment. Like I love it. Like I love to invest in myself. Like the way that my life has leveled up because of it,
Hmm.
I mean, I can
Man, come on now.
listen, this glow, this glow, I ain't got no makeup on right now. This is because of the inner work and the level of, just accountability that has shifted every way that I think and act.
Mm.
And that's the change that people need. And for me, I feel like 2025 would be a success if I continue, because like, now at this time, like I just recently in the past couple days started creating content a little differently than how I've done before. I'm showing a little more silliness, and I've been very like this on social media.
Very just.
So huh,
So you just been very just strict, just like.
yeah, like it's been very structured, very just straight to the point. um and yeah, this is, it's definitely stretching my capacity again, but in a beautiful way. So I feel like 2025 would be a success if I continue to be the most authentic, free version of me. Like just not caring what people think, not caring how many likes it's going to get, how many follows I'm going to have, if it's going to be viral, if, like it doesn't matter.
Mm.
I feel like it'll be the most amazing year if I just continue to walk in my authenticity and be unapologetic.
Mm.
And I feel like even though I've made these moves, right, and I'm starting to be a little more myself on social media, but that's something I look forward to working with Amari, because when I see his content, his level of just freedom and just like not give a fuck is just, it's to another level, and I want to achieve that. And so that's what I look forward to in 2025, like for sure. It's just, I mean, if this year could, I mean, you know, the transition from start to finish has been just amazing. So I can only imagine what 2025 is going to hold for us. Um, so yeah, like,
you know what? I just had a thought. So you had 2 words for 2024. I got another word. Actually, I got a phrase for 2024. The whole 2020, the whole 24 for me, right, was I gotta figure out how to get this money by tomorrow. Right. That was 24 for me. I gotta figure out how to get this money by tomorrow.
I got you. I feel it. I feel it.
Oh, and now 25, I feel like I'm stepping into a like I'm powerful beyond measure. Like my greatest fear isn't that I'm inadequate. My greatest fear is that I'm powerful beyond measure. And I see that now more than ever, especially like with my words. Like my words, boy, I manifest things now. And it comes in ways that I don't expect, but I see it. When I see it, I see it. I'm like, oh yeah, my words, they're getting stronger now. So I gotta be more intentional. And I feel that coming into 25, like I feel like it's the things you say, no matter how things are looking, if you say it, it's going to appear as is. Like it doesn't matter about what's going on. All that matters is what you're telling, like you said, what you're tricking your mind into believing. You could be in the worst case scenario, but if you trick your mind to say, like, yo, this is the best thing that could ever happen to me right now, it's gonna be like, you know what, you're right. This is the best thing that could ever happen to us right now. Let's do it. Right. And I'm following through with that energy. Like, no matter what happened, because I think the thing is, the things that I went through in 24 let me know that there's nothing that I cannot overcome. Because every situation that I thought I could never make it out of, I'm alive to be a testimony to the things that I've overcome today. And so to me, 25 is all about like, all right, we're done surviving. It's all about abundance. Like the life that you want, the lifestyle that you want, the things that you desire, like the visions that you have been given are going to come to fruition. And it's just that simple. You don't need to overthink it. You don't even need to worry about how. You just need to focus on the intuition of it all and just follow and focus on that because everything is already here for you. Like literally, when I look around, I see I have everything that I need to achieve. And there was a point in time where I felt like I lacked something. But the thing that I lacked was awareness. And the funny thing about it is I have a t-shirt that talks about that. It's like, it's not the absence of God, it's our awareness of the absence of God. So it's like, it's not the absence of things, it's our awareness of the absence of things. And so once you start to remove the lenses to say, like, oh, nah, I really do have everything I need, then everything that you need just shows up. And it's like, wow, you really have to sit back and be like, damn, this is crazy, right? So that's that was just on my mind to say.
I love that. No, I think that's amazing. And that's something I realized really in this last quarter is that, girl, you have everything you need. And that kind of stimulated my thought that, like, I have no problems, truly, like at the end of the day, because either I know or I don't know, and I'm going to get the answer. Like, I have all the tools. Everything comes easily to me. It's like it's meant for me. The life that I want is already it's waiting for me. You know, like it's just been waiting for me to show up. It's been waiting for me to say, "Hey, actually, yeah, I want this." And that is kind of having that mentality going into 2025. Like I'm truly excited to see the transformations, you know, with the trigger warning podcast, Beyond the Usual. You know, now we talking about getting guests on the show next year. And I'm excited to see the expansion. And to me, that is what 2025 is about. I'm expanding every aspect of my life in 2025. I'm having more experiences. I'm going to travel. I'm deepening my connections with my community. I'm building even more community. Like there's no level, there's no aspect of my life that I can't reach out to someone and say, hey, I need a little support for this. That's not going to help me knock it out the park. Like it's going to be the best year yet.
It's already the best year. And it hasn't even got here yet. Hey, side note, I want to speak it into existence. We're going to have a live show soon. Like we're going to have a live recording. I'm just going to put it out there. We're going to have a live recording coming into 25, and yeah, it's going to be phenomenal. I feel like
I'm here for it.
Yeah, because that's the next level. Like this right here was the prerequisite. Yeah. And the next level is just like boom, like cameras, mics, aesthetics.
And you've been, you've seen the live episodes like with Trigger Warning podcast, but you also can tell. I was thinking about it the other day and I was like, what is really the difference between the two podcasts? I feel like Trigger Warning podcast is like my heart and this is my mind. You feel that? Because you've seen a few episodes. Like, so I feel like that is kind of the difference. So, and we do the live episodes there where anyone in the public can join. But I think this would also this would be different. It would hit differently in a live setting. And I'm here for it. I mean, we kind of tested it out like with TikTok and stuff like that. But I feel like anytime we have these engagements, like the energy exchange, it's beyond measure. It is powerful. Because we talked about some really deep topics and we tend to like break it down and make it more palatable for people, so I support that. I think it's next level, just like you said.
Yeah, for sure. Man, this is exciting. I feel like we're just getting like primed for 25. Like, yeah, we said this is a recap, but at the same time, this is a primer too. This is like getting you pumped for what 25 has to offer. And honestly, that's all I'm excited about. I'm just excited about the future because the past lessons, like, the past, the present, the future are all happening simultaneously. You're just a collective of all the experiences that you had. So I'm excited about the person that I've become and becoming and what is to come in 25, because it's like, dang, we really are a force to be reckoned with, honestly. And it's like everywhere you go, that energy, that aura, that essence, it just shows. So anytime you feel any sort of like doubt or whatever the case is, it immediately goes away because of the power and the essence that you possess, because of the work that you've done on yourself for so long. So
long. So long.
Well, listen.
And I will say 2024, as delicious as it was, there was a lot of doubt for me. There was a lot of imposter syndrome, stepping really fully into coaching and, even in my like personal relationships and like shifting things, my, being more open about my beliefs and things like that. Like there was a lot of imposter syndrome trying to shift into that new, not even new, but a more authentic version of myself. But I feel like that is gone. Don't get me wrong. There are things I'm like, but for the most part, I don't even doubt myself. First of all, we just gonna fucking do something. And if it don't turn out how we want it to be, we gonna go a different route next time. That's all. Like either way, but I'm still going to act. I'm still going to do. And I feel like that is one of my biggest lessons from 2024. Like, girl, everything has worked out for you and it's going to continue to work out. Like that is, everything happens for you and not to you. And even more than my own transformation, what I look forward to, or at least probably is at the same level, is the people around me winning, the people around me shifting, the people around me like just living more authentically and more deliciously and just being more aware and just like it's this ripple effect. And this is how at the end of the day we're out here changing the world.
Talk about it. We out here, we are the game changers. We are the cog in the machine that keeps everything rolling, right? So I like that, man. This is good. This is really good.
I don't think we can end no better than that, y'all.
Nah, for real. Like we said, this is 25.
This was deep, and Mari, like, I'm so grateful for your questions because listen, it caused me to think, think in a different way. And I loved how he did it. He had like look at your gallery, like your photos from certain parts of the year. And he asked like what emotions brought up, what were you going through at that time, things like that. And I think it really causes you to sit and think. And I love how he kind of laid out the bookmark. Again, we're gonna have it in the description, but it's just a nice, and this is something you can use literally every year, and it's something I'm going to be more intentional with thinking of. I'm like, you know what? I like that. And I love like with you, Paulizé, you always are recording with you traveling and everything, you're vlogging and everything. And that's something I kind of got away from, is capturing moments. And that's what I want to do more of going into 2025 so that I can look back at the end of the year and be like, oh, these photos, oh, snap. Like I remember I had this issue or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
just being able to kind of reflect in that manner, it's a different. So I think he just kind of put a different spin on it. And I really love the way he just brought it all together. So I'm really grateful. It was very inspiring for this episode. And I really look forward to Beyond the Usual season 2. You feel me?
Well,
I'm so excited, so excited. And I'm grateful to you, Paulizé, because you, like, without you, I wouldn't have, this wouldn't have been possible. And I'm grateful for the connection that we have, the friendship that we've built, and you have challenged me in a lot of ways. You supported me, you sat with me, and I'm just truly grateful.
likewise, same. I'm so glad that this happened. And you know what's funny enough? I feel like this was always meant because I tried it before and it was good until the momentum just stopped. It's nothing bad. It just the momentum just stopped. But with this, it was like the momentum just kept going, kept going. So I felt like this was something that was always meant. And there's nobody that I could imagine doing these episodes, this podcast with, because you honestly have inspired me in so many ways. Like the way you say I challenged you, but literally you've inspired me because hearing your stories and the things you've overcome and all of the work that you're doing, it's like, to me, it lights me up because I'm just like, dang, like I feel like I have so much more growing to do. And it just like pushes me to want to do better and grow and evolve and really just be a greater version of myself because it's phenomenal to have great people like you. And I truly appreciate you for holding space and being on this journey with me as well. So I'm truly grateful.
Not you gonna have me tearing up on the episode, sir. And that's so crazy though that we have both of these perspectives. I'm like, he challenges me, and then you're like, you're challenging me and inspiring me. Like it goes both ways, but it's beautiful. And that is what I want more of in 2025. That's what I'm claiming, is to have not, and we've talked about this, like not everybody's gonna be at the level because again, capacity, right? Like
Right.
we can't have these conversations all day every day, right? Like it would not serve us. Like
Right.
we kind of got to come down a little bit. But I do want more connections that are like this. They're just natural and they just are just powerful in their own way. And so that I like, again, I'm really grateful. Like you said it off camera, like you were just like, I have so much gratitude right now. And that's truly what I feel. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I feel like is my life, is it's just gratitude for everything, the negative, the positive, because it's all helps me to get to the space that I'm at right now, this moment. And I'm grateful for this moment, even though my back hurts.
Well, that just goes to show it's time to sign off, y'all. This has been the season finale of Beyond the Usual with me, Paulizé, and Keleisha Lashaye. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for the support and the love that y'all have been giving. It is truly remarkable. And be on the lookout for season 2. And I promise you it's going to be even better. We're going to have more guests, and we're going to have a few surprises too. So just be on the lookout. So till next time, until next year, in progress.
Peace, y'all.